Khan. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Just everyone's still reeling from the horror of these attacks. And we have, in particular, this irony that they were attacked at a conference which was about showing faith in people who had been convicted of offences and could be rehabilitated. And then Usman Khan showed how, in his particular case, that was a false hope. What do you think this says, then, about sentencing?
Well, I'm going to come to that in a second, and we've got to focus on the worst of humanity. But can I thank you for the last couple of days and focusing on the best of humanity?
Yes.
You focused on Jack and Saskia. They were people who had this great future in front of them, but dedicated their life to helping others. And you've also focused on the heroes, the ordinary Londoners, who did extraordinary things.
Well, we have, but we've actually predominantly focused
but also, yeah,
on sentencing. And there's an interesting thing there, because the father of Jack Merritt has been very outspoken since his son's death about the need to not use his son's death as an excuse to be tougher on sentencing. And yet I would say, from the reaction we've had, 99% of the British public find it inexplicable that a convicted al-Qaeda terrorist like Usman Khan is released after just 8 years and is then able to commit mass murder.
Well, I think it's really important that people like me, politicians, journalists, actually ask big questions that must be asked, because we've got to learn the lessons to make sure we're as safe as we can be. And there are lessons that...
Was it wrong to release him?
Well, I voted against a sentence that judges had the power to impose called an indeterminate sentence to protect the public. What that basically meant was a judge could say, you're a convicted terrorist, you're not to be released until we're convinced you're no longer a danger to the public. It was this government that took that sentence away. I voted against them and I opposed them.
And Usman Khan was originally on an indeterminate sentence, but on appeal that was changed to a 16-year sentence with automatic release at 8 years.
And that's my frustration. My frustration is you're only hearing half the story. My frustration is what was echoed by Jack's dad, a knee-jerk response. What are the facts? The facts are judges used to have this power to give an IPP. This government took that away. Do you know why? Because they wanted to reduce prison numbers to save money. The other point about prison is that they shouldn't be warehouses where you simply hold people. You've got to punish them and reform them. Here's the problem. People are being released without being properly rehabilitated because of cuts and the privatisation of probation. But also, once they're released, they're not properly supervised. So you're asking all the right questions about what happened in this case, what happened in the case of the other 74 released on licence, what happens to those convicted of terrorist offences. But be very careful, 8 days before an election, where politicians are there to be tough without explaining their responsibility over the last...